there's one person in the whole wide world you want to hear from in this situation, it is Dr. Anthony Fauci, director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases at the National Institutes of Health, chief medical advisor to President Biden. We were very lucky to be joined by him tonight. All right, Dr. Fauci, let's start with this. Who makes this call?
The call was made unquestionably by the FDA and the CDC working together. So it was based purely on the scientific and public health considerations.
But even if that's the case, right, there's some balance of trade-offs here. There's costs and benefits in either direction. What's the matrix for that decision? What's the process by which you evaluate the sort of risks and costs on either end?
Well, what had happened is that there were a couple of cases that had been picked up in the surveillance of the J&J vaccine administration. And then it became 3 and then 4 and then 5 and it reached 6. The FDA and the CDC said, we better just take a pause here and take a really close look at this. A, are there any more cases? There are a lot more that we're missing. And B, what is it? What are the details about this? We need to learn more about it. The other thing that was important that we mentioned today in the press conference is that it's a message to the physicians out there, because if particularly young women who may have been vaccinated come in with this syndrome and need treatment, because it's really it's rare, but it is quite a severe syndrome, that the general thing, and you mentioned this yourself, Chris, running up to the show, where the treatment in general for clots is an anticoagulant called heparin. Heparin would be contraindicated in this case, right, because it would make matters worse. So you really want to alert the physicians out there, hold on, folks. We have an issue here. We're going to try and sort it out. It may be nothing. We may go back to where we were before, but let's just pause and take a really close look at this. That's what this is all about. And that decision was made purely on a public health and scientific basis by the FDA and the CDC.
So I just want to push on this a little bit to sort of understand the risk calculation here, right? So, there's this phrase abundance of caution, which has become a kind of cliche. It was used today, right? Out of an abundance of caution. And every time I hear that phrase, I think, well, I don't want an abundance of caution. I want the correct amount of caution, right? I mean, we're fighting a deadly pandemic. So it doesn't, it matters how many shots get into arms. You and I think, agree on that, right? And it matters whether people have the knock-on effect of reading this news and thinking, oh, my word, I don't know about these vaccines. So there is stuff on the other side of the ledger here. You would, I think, agree.
Yeah, there is. But this is not a rare event when you're following the potential for adverse events with a new product such as this vaccine, where you pause, take a quick look, and then say, okay, this is probably nothing. It probably isn't any more than you'd expect anyway. Let's move on. That happens more frequently than you could imagine, Chris, because of the attention on this for reasons that are very obvious. We're in the middle of a deadly pandemic. It becomes something that people pay a lot of attention to. But it's not at all unusual to have pauses when you're dealing with vaccinations.
But even if it's not all unusual, I guess I would say that, right, the messaging is in a different environment. I mean, I wonder how much you guys think, and I think we're trying to be very, very clear and responsible here on this program, right, about what kind of risk we're talking about and what it means more broadly, but how much the general picture of vaccine hesitancy, conspiracy theories about Bill Gates, yada, yada, affects the overall picture or decision-making sphere in which all these folks are operating.
Well, Chris, it goes both ways, really, because, you could say this is going to have a negative impact on the issue of hesitancy. But on the other hand, it may actually work in the opposite direction, because people want to know that safety is a very important issue. Often, when people are hesitant, they say, I'm not really sure that this was really carefully looked at. Is it really safe?
Right.
I think what you see happen today was the fact that safety was put right up front. It might last just the pause for a few days and go back in, but at least the system worked. People were watching this very carefully, and they saw something that was suspicious, that might mean something, and they said, okay, let's wait a minute and take a really careful look at this. So I think it fortifies the whole concept that we take safety very seriously.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.